We're hearing different plans here. There's talk of a second referendum. What options are Labour presenting?
Good morning, Annalise. Well, later on today here at the Labour Party conference, they'll be voting on a motion which would have the party back a second referendum, the so-called People's Referendum. Now, they would do that if whatever deal Theresa May brings to Parliament for Brexit is voted down. Now, Labour have set 6 tests for that deal, what it would have to do for them to support it. But when politicians set tests, it's so that they can fail them, basically, so that they can say, well, no, they haven't met our standards, so they look like they're going through a process of maybe backing it, so that the leavers in the country think that they are on the side of them as well, but then they sort of refuse it and say, no, it's not going to work for them. So they then will have a second referendum. But there has been a debate here over the past 24 hours about whether that second referendum should include an option for remaining in the UK. Sir Keir Starmer, who is the Shadow Brexit Secretary, and John McDonnell, who is the Shadow Chancellor, have been fighting between them on this, but Sir Keir Starmer has won, and so the vote they'll be having today will be on a second referendum, including the option of remaining within the EU.
Vinny, things are not looking too good for Theresa May. What is the government's current position on all this?
Well, Theresa May jets off to New York today for the UN General Assembly, and she had to have a special cabinet meeting yesterday with the full cabinet to go through what happened last week in Salzburg. There were rumours beforehand that people were going to push her to go for a more simpler free trade deal, something known as Canada Plus Plus Plus, which would sort of model what Canada got out of the EU last year, but with some additions like financial services. But at the moment, she has told them that she is holding her nerve, she's sticking with her Chequers Brexit plan, and they will not be putting anything else before Parliament and the British public. Now, Guy Verhofstadt visited her yesterday. She was continuing negotiations with him directly, and she also had discussions around the cabinet table on the new immigration system, which will come into place once the UK leaves the EU. And the cabinet has now decided that there will be no special status for EU nationals, and there will also be a preference for high-skilled immigration. No longer low-skilled immigration will be accepted because they think that'll be better for the economy. Now, that might be a tactic in the negotiations, something that they might change if the EU softens their stance on Chequers, but we'll see in the next couple of weeks, because Theresa May has her own conference next week in Birmingham, where she'll be expected to say more on what her plans are. She'll, I think, be reiterating the message that she put out on Friday, that she is fully behind her Chequers plan still. She's waiting for Brussels to blink. But right here now at a Labour Party conference, they're just hoping that there will be the chance to get that second referendum, or their real preference, a snap general election.